Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session. Today, we are going to ambitiously discuss the Bahrain Vision 2050. This is Dr. Aisha Bushagar, the Vice Chair of the Board of Technology and Business Society, and I will be your moderator for today. With us, without further ado, let us extend our warm welcome to our distinguished panelists, Mr. Saleh Tarada, Chairman of the Municipal Capital Council, Mr. Walid Kano, the Vice Treasurer and the Chairman of Committee Steering Group at Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Khalid Salem, a Business and Economic Strategist, and Mr. Ahmed Leblouchi, the CEO of Adventari and also a board member in TBS. Welcome, everyone. Now, to start this panel discussion, I will start with Mr. Saleh Tarada. In the context of Bahrain Vision 2050, where we all look forward to a technological, however, a sustainable technological or digital economy, how can Bahrain's smart city initiatives be designed and implemented in a way that prioritizes the environmental conservation and reduces the carbon footprint?
Thank you very much, Dr. Aisha. First of all, on this occasion of remembering 25 years of good leadership of our king, we want to really take this opportunity to congratulate him for the prosperity and development in all sectors. As we talk about Vision 2050, which is we're looking ahead 25 years in advance, so it is also appropriate to really go back the past 25 years and to consider ourselves very lucky. Just going back to your question regarding prioritization and also the initiatives, of course, smart cities concentrate on a number of sectors. Among them is electricity, construction, and transport. And in terms of prioritization, I think there is a methodology for prioritization of initiatives. For example, if I give you the issue of conservation regarding water conservation, there are technologies like converting air into water, and I've seen this plant in last time I visited Jitex, compared to another initiative of what we call vertical farming, which is also aimed at reducing the utilization of water in farming. So if you have these kind of technologies, which one you are going to focus on? So there are within management and the people who are dealing with leadership and management, they have a way to really come up with the best decision, the best outcome of using tools to come up with the best way of moving forward. So in terms of smart cities, when you want to prioritize, I think we should really try to use some of the available tools to give you the right answer. In terms of reduction of carbon footprint, as you know, people talk about renewable energy and solar power, and talking about, for instance, I recently attended a webinar hosted by Singaporean engineers, and they have invited one of the chief executives of an electric company called Schneider, and he defined the way to move forward by saying, if you add digitalization plus electricity, you will get sustainability. So what it means is that the use of technology, especially in use of Internet of Things, sensors, digitalization, and all this help to really move forward and give you more effective solutions in terms of reaching your goals of sustainable smart cities. So I will stop at this point and give the opportunity for others also to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Saleh. Now that we have heard a little bit about smart cities and how sustainable they should be, let us tilt a little bit into technology and see how AI presents both opportunities and challenges. And we all know that although it is important and although AI plays a major role even in job opportunities, upskilling the people, we need to ask Ahmed Leblouchi here. How do you perceive AI both as creating new opportunities and also presenting challenges in various industries and professions?
Thank you, Dr. Asha. I'm glad to be here and discuss this important topic on how technology can aid the Vision 2050. And as you said, any technology, not necessarily just AI, but I'll focus on AI. Any technology and all the digital technologies we're living in brings both opportunities and threat. And we need to know how to deal with opportunities as much as we need to deal with threats, because opportunities can give us benefit, but to sustain those benefits without dealing with the threats, we will not sustain those benefits. So this is in general, because I think moving forward, we will have a lot of technologies. AI maybe is the most important, but the combination of multiple technologies together combined, these what will create massive opportunities, but also equally threats. So AI, I think if we look at here 2023, it is the year of AI and specifically generative AI, and we've seen that how big impact it is. And I think it brings opportunities for businesses to increase efficiency, for the customer experience to be improved, and also to increase innovation and other things like productivity. Those are the opportunities that such technology, especially AI, bring. But also the threats that AI brings, and we have to prepare ourselves, is that how are we going to compete with companies or maybe even economies that leverage AI and have the technology, have the process, and have the human capital to utilize these technologies? So I think we have to balance both, and every organization have to see what are the use cases that are applicable to them, and what do they need to do in terms of process, people, and technology to utilize these benefits. But at the same time, what are we going to do with all these threats of AI in terms of replacing jobs or ethics and security? So we have to balance things. So I think for every organization, for every economy, we have to see what's the AI impact. We need for the country and economy to flourish. We have to see what are the skilling or reskilling we need to do for the human capital in order to leverage the opportunity of AI. And I think if we look beyond how AI is used in organization, and because we're talking about vision, this vision needs an economy that really deliver that vision. I think the question we have to ask ourselves, not only from job perspective, but we as an economy, are we going to use AI as merely users? So we're just consuming the AI, or we want to go a step further and play an important player in producing AI technologies, AI applications, and be a producer of this technology. So I think this is the bigger picture we need to really assess and see where is our position in Vision 2050 in leveraging these technologies? Are we going to be a consumers or producers? Back to you, Dr. Aisha.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you so much. Now, while you're speaking, it came across my mind the importance of governance when it comes to technology. You know, so many technologies are trendy in some decades, and some of them just don't survive. When it comes to governing those technologies, I believe it is something that is really challenging. I want to hear from you, based on your experience, how do you find governing technologies?
Governing technologies, as you said, it's a complicated thing. And also governing technology, especially AI, is even more challenging. We've seen a lot of discussion now. Do we pause AI development and develop governance ethics in place? There are two different schools of thought. Yes, we need to govern. No, we have to advance and learn how to govern these technologies. So this debate is ongoing on AI. But in general, yes, I agree with you that we have to govern technologies to ensure that they deliver its benefits while we are mitigating their threats. And I think looking at the technology and the context of each industry will have better level of governance and regulation, because maybe the use cases in financial services, for example, is different when it comes to healthcare. Healthcare might be more important to the well-being of humans and the population, but financial services is more concerned about preserving wealth and money. And based on that context, we could better see what are the regulations, governance we do based on those use cases and their application in specific industries.
Thank you, Ahmed. That was very insightful. Thank you so much. Back to Khalid. Khalid Salam Bouali, in the context of achieving the ambitions of 2050. Let us talk about the vision for a digital economy and how can we ensure that the evolution towards a digital economy aligns with a sustainable economy.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much, everyone. The topic today is, I think it's mainly about the 2050, correct? So whatever we're going to have today, we have to, see the future with it. I just want to point out most of the, maybe me and Waleed and Ahmed, by the time 2050, I'll be 80. I don't know, Waleed, what age you will be. But again, inshallah. So going there on the future, we're talking about the future, and like, we will be at 80 years old, maybe. And the thing is, seeing the future from now is not an easy, game to play, and especially when we cannot predict, even artificial intelligence cannot predict the future easily as a foresight. But going back and looking into the digital economy is definitely taking over. We are at the corner of the fifth industrial revolution, which is mainly, a lot of people think it is, as Mr. Ahmed said, it's an AI-dominated area. And definitely there's going to be so many things different from now. Bahrain, by 2050, if everything as we predict becomes the same, then Bahrain nationals will be 2.3 million up to 2.5 million. And if you look into countries like India, they could be more than double their population now. Saying that, keeping this in mind, this only the growth of population itself, if things goes normal in the world and as predictions of the AI itself comes up correct, then the population will be bigger. Then when you have a growing population, you need better healthcare, you need places to put them in to work, you need food, you need a lot of things. So and yet, like Elon Musk and many other top technology dominant companies in the world have said that the digital economy will have a mass unemployment impact a mass unemployment impact. So having a mass unemployment impact, yes, it will deliver new jobs to new sectors. But again, unemployment will be the major issue. Going to this worldwide, I'm not talking about the case of Bahrain, I'm not talking of the case of Bahrain. But in general, worldwide, everybody is working to find solutions for this. Many people are thinking one salary for all. Now, it's my opinion, and many people's opinion, maybe we should take the digital economy we're talking about should be the main focus or the center of our focus in the 2050 vision of Bahrain economy. As digital economy is going to be the future, and by 2050, I think there is a lot of things have going to be changed, and we need to have the digital economy.
I think we lost Khaled, Dr.
The
Aisha.
digital economy.
He's back.
Ensuring that this. Sorry.
عفوا Khaled, you and I went off for a few seconds and now we're back. تفضل.
Okay. So in putting citizen-centric approach in a digital economy means that we're ensuring that the digital economy advancements benefits all segments of society and improve quality of life for all citizens. That's the approach worldwide, by the way. It's not something specific to Bahrain. We are not new to the world. If we think of the world as a spaceship and we are on the spaceship, we need to provide to those populations by 2050. So we will have older age. Let's see the future, how it will look like. We will have people aging better because we have a better healthcare. We will have upskilling and upskilling and reskilling for the existing population now for the future to be prepared. And we have problems like where those people will live. Okay. So here where it comes a sustainable development of buildings and smart cities and all that comes in, they have to look into the future of those populations. How we can, for example, Mr. Walid Kano earlier said, we want our kids to be outside, enjoying the world, not sitting down behind computers. I think sustainable or smart cities should provide something like this, should allow people to be living in the world, not living behind screens. So, I think a digital economy, I don't want to take longer, it's a huge topic you opened up, but Bahrain is well set for it. We have the best telecommunication infrastructure, which is called the digital economy enablers. And Ahmed Blouchi, again, he said something great. I will stand on shoulders of great people like Ahmed. So I would say the following. So the following is that we are a consumer. We are a consumer of communication, and we are consumers of all of that. We should invest it. We shouldn't have good technologies, good telecom infrastructure, and instead we are using it for example, now video conferencing only. We should be producing something. We should be producing the video conferencing solutions. So I'm like there with Ahmed on this. Actually, inshallah, future generations being trained by him as well, be there, and I wish something will change, in the coming future in the benefit of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Khaled. Very ambitious thoughts and very constructive at the same time. We enjoyed your thoughts, actually. And let us continue enjoying this discussion by asking Mr. Walid Kano, how can the business sector now collaborate with NGOs and other governmental agencies to ensure what we just discussed, the technological advancements align with the ESG and sustainability principles?
Thank you, Doctor, for inviting us to be part of this panels. And of course, I'm very glad that we are discussing Vision 2050. This is a very important time for Bahrain. And one thing that I find it very unique this time is the opinion of business sectors, NGOs, the general public. Everybody's part of this. So it's not really limited to few people talking about this important topic. As for the collaboration, today's presence here, you have people representing business community, they represent NGOs, and they represent different sectors. So within the panelists today, this is already a collaboration. So it's not something that we're saying that it will hopefully happen. There's always a collaboration. NGOs, Bahrain Chamber is an NGO. A lot of societies we have today are all NGOs. They all unite people who have common thinking, and rather than having one voice of every individual, we make it as part of groups, and in the end we do think tanks and we come up with some ideas like what we see today. So the collaboration is already existing today, and we have different channels of communication. If I'm there to talk about the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce, of course, we are talking to a lot of societies in Bahrain on many different levels and different regime. Plus, we are also a link for Bahrain to the region and to the world. So we have the connection and the know-how, and we can do even collaboration on a bigger scale. So that's already another way of dealing with ideas that can come out of sessions like today. We can really connect it even to the government. So today we are all, in the end, parts of a field that everyone has a voice, and today the leadership is really listening to it. And for the vision to happen, we have to really collaborate, and we have the best subject matter experts talk about it. So again, what's the second part of the question, if you can just remind me?
How can we align this with the ESGs and sustainability principles?
Okay. First, of course, I always believe in events like this. Of course, today's topic is somehow a bit of on a macro level, rather than going to the very micro detail. We might need to have to divide the topic into smaller topics. But again, we have to think. To me, one thing that I always think of is what are the challenges that we are facing today, and how we can use technologies, use the right people so we can address them, and we think of dealing with them and make these challenges opportunities. Because every time I think of a challenge, I will say there must be somewhere that we can improve and we can enhance the situation by creating opportunities. One thing that I always think of, I find it very important, is jobs of the future. Something that interests me so much today, as we live in a world. If I'm to prepare for a vision in the future, I have to prepare myself of what do I need, what are the principles that we need in terms of sustainability and in fields like social or others. We have to agree to what we want, and then build a bridge to what we want to go and how can we go there. So jobs of the future is something that I find it to be a great opportunity that we can talk about and focus and have sessions on that, because I feel this is a green field. It can help a lot of people, even planning for today, moving in towards tomorrow. So I hope that I've answered somehow your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Bunasser. Now, after listening to the four distinguished panelists, I'm thinking of having a what's so-called rapid fire round, and I would like you all to give me one sentence on what's the single most important action each of our esteemed panelists here today believe that has to be taken to accelerate Bahrain's journey towards this visionary and sustainable future. Let us go back to
Yes, thank you, Dr. Aisha. I want to really support the ideas given by the panelists, starting with Ahmed Al-Bloushi, Khalid, and Walid. And I want to really add one more point regarding the issues mentioned, like the AI being, we need to be the producer rather than the consumer, and finding jobs and finding places for people to work. And one idea, which I think is, I am firm believer, is that we need to leverage our GCC. Currently, for instance, if you look about a number of initiatives at the different levels, different sectors, we see that we get the great benefits if we collaborate, because the theme of some of the people I heard before is they talk about collaboration, and Walid talk about BCCI being a link to the outside world. I'm a firm believer that if we leverage our presence within the GCC, most of our problems will be addressed, and we should be capable as a group to address them. Because to move forward in the next 25 years, we cannot do it alone. We need to really collaborate, especially within the GCC. For instance, Oman has got a lot of advantages. If you talk about, for instance, data centers, then maybe they have the best place in terms of availability of secure places, electricity, water, and all sorts of things. If you talk about, for instance, accommodation, and because Bahrain is very small in terms of availability of land, but we are very lucky that we are neighboring Saudi Arabia, and it is a huge place whereby we could do. If you talk about, for instance, technologies of changing waste into energy, then Bahrain may not have enough waste to turn it into energy, but by collaboration with our neighbors, maybe we could put in a factory nearby the border, and both the countries concerned can take the waste and turn it to energy. I am very optimistic when the GCC rail network happens, because that will create a lot of jobs for the GCC countries. It will improve trade, it will improve all sectors, because it will expand. Bahrain has got a small market. With the GCC link, rail link, the Bahrain market will be expanding. So collaboration at the GCC level, I think, is one theme which I really would like to see in the 2050 vision, is that we need to enhance it. It is there, but we need to enhance it. I'll stop at this stage.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. So your sentence evolves around mainly collaboration with the GCC in order to reach better outcomes in the future. Who would like to go next? Yes, please, Abu Nasser, تفضل.
Okay. I believe smart cities is something that a must today, and of course, maybe I've witnessed the foundation, putting the foundation for Salman City in Bahrain. One thing that I found that there's, in any city, there should be really utilization of the technology to make sure in the end we do the things right. I've visited some of the neighboring countries the last few months, and I've seen that they have done so much in terms of creating smarter cities, where it is really connected is something. Waste management is another way to collaborate on. Internet of Things, ordering, dealing with the building management system. There's so much of smart solution that can be utilized. We want to somehow make sure part of our vision is that we stop the things that have been done conventionally and traditionally, because they may have worked in the past, but as of today and for the future and the sustainability of our lives itself, we need to do things differently. We need to make sure in the end we do things smartly, and the solutions are there. We are not going to be the first to do it. We can learn from the neighboring countries. I'm not saying we're looking all the way to the west. We have good examples, and basically I believe the government, since they're having a good vision, they can be looking really towards utilizing our country to become a smart country, and all our cities slowly to move them, to make them smarter. And I believe today we have the subject matter experts who can talk about it with all the decision makers and can make this happen. And in terms of funds, the funds can come later. So as long as we accept the ideas, how can we do it is another chapter where we can basically say we will bring the investors. One thing that can be happening, and we are right now talking about it, even the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of things are slowly going to be privatized. So things that have been managed by the government, whether it's transportation, electricity, water, roads, a lot of things will be eventually considered to be somehow privatized, or at least it's a public-private collaboration. So in terms of funds, they can come from the private sector, as long as in the end we agree together that dealing with things in a smarter way, it'll be a great thing. One thing I've heard, vertical farming, and others is smarter buildings. So there's so much that can come under smart solutions, and I think that's my belief. Thank you.
Mr. Walid, beautifully constructed and beautifully delivered. Thank you very much. Who would like to go next, Khalid or Ahmed?
You know, Ahmed holds the back a lot. I know that. You know, and he's waiting for me to speak. So
I respect the elderly. You can go first.
You know, older and more experienced, huh? Okay. So actually, I think your question was you know, what was the one thing that, you know, can be, you know, thought of to be, you know, the solution. That's a smart question, not an easy solution there for it. So let's say the following. You know, if there is one thing the government needs to do, I mean, we have NGOs, government, and private sector, which is, we are part of it as well. So if we talk the government should think of education, upskilling, and reskilling, you know, holding up the infrastructure to be able to enable the technologies for the future, and focus on the regulation of the digital economy, because we have a new economy that's not physical, and there is a digital economy that has, on this digital economy, we have data, which is the new oil. We don't have enough rules and regulations to control the security of this data, the privacy of this data, the intellectual property, how to, you know, if there is something wrong, a fraud or whatever, all of this has to be there. With the existing infrastructure of Bahrain as a security, you know, it doesn't work for you know, saving the future of the legal platform. That's from the Bahrain government. But always, I say this, the following: over-regulation kills any economy. Over-regulation kills any economy. Now, if we're going to regulate our normal economy in Bahrain, over-regulation, you're killing it. You know, deregulating it, you're also, again, making a chaos. But it has to be an optimum thing in the middle. The same thing I would say for the digital economy. It has to be an optimum thing in the middle. So the government of Bahrain should think of having the optimum, you know, regulations to enhance the economy, to move forward, not to stop it. You know, in economy, we have few types. There's a command economy and a mixed economy. Bahrain is applying mixed economy, which is between command and free markets. Okay, that's on the government side. NGOs. So, for example, I would suggest for the smart cities, you know, you have huge challenges coming up. Huge challenges coming up. Where is your input? Where is the input for the future? We have increased boom in population. Okay, new needs of this population. They need healthcare to be next to them. They need their food to be next to them. They need to, you know, recycle their items. They need to move around. Their education may change. The healthcare systems may change. You know, the food production and delivery may change. So, but let's think of this. Put this in your mind. In 2050, most of us maybe will be, you know, God knows, I'll be on a bed, but you know, God knows. But the thing is, by 2050, what have you done in the sustainable cities? There is no city that has no hospitals, no infrastructure for food or traveling or all of that. So think of your small cities from now, Bahrainis. Okay, so this is my urge to you as a society. If you want to help, you want to be on hand, I want to see in the coming year some plan, some vision from your side. In terms of TBS, which is I'm also part of it, Technology Business Society, you know, you've been active a lot, and I thank you also for this activity. and maybe Mr. Mish'al is here also hearing this. We want really to be involving the business society. It's a technology business society. We need to involve the business society. We need to help the business society to reach to its ambitions. We want to be on the digital area. Why still some of the things in business is not running very well? Why still we are not competing in terms of our rates in credit cards and banking and all of this? Where's the fintech we are planning to work as and to push us forward? So there's a lot of things going on. I wish TBS also takes over a leading role in this area. I'm part of it. I'm working on it. I'm blamed as well. So don't worry. Okay, but I'm saying if we want to say the truth to ourselves. And now those are the two main areas: the government, the NGOs, and the total population itself will change if we have the leaders of that type of of thinking helps others to move. So I just stop here. This one thing you talked about is not possible, so I explained why it's not possible. Thank you very much. Ahmed.
Thank you, Khalid, so much. Ahmed, I think it's your turn now. I have Ahmed, if you allow me, I have دكتورة شيخة فاي بنت عبد الله raising her hand. Please.
عقب أحمد دكتورة، عقب تفضل أحمد.
شكله خالد trigger something there. اصبر الجواب.
أنا والله يعني now I wish I spoke before Khalid because he didn't leave anything for me to say. But let me just summarize. I think when talking about Vision 2050, we have to set this vision collaboratively as a country, which means government, private sector, NGO. That's has to be collaboratively. And we should have a strategy, and strategy on this long-term horizon is bound to be dynamic because we're facing volatility, we face uncertainty, we have to be agile. But I think the most important thing, if we're talking about Vision 2050, is we have KPIs. KPIs that guide us whether we are achieving this vision or not, and take corrective action once any of these KPIs slips. So that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. And I believe we came to a conclusion, let us say, that all aspects that has been discussed today, you name it, AI, smart cities, sustainability, economic trends, have to be put together in a way that is futuristic, based on a clear strategy, set objectives, and clear KPIs to be able to achieve better outcomes. And I would like here to thank you all, our distinguished speakers, for sharing all those invaluable and futuristic insights. And now the floor is open for our esteemed participants. If you have any question, please feel free to engage and collaborate. And I believe the first question here will come from دكتورة فاي. تفضلي. دكتورة.
السلام عليكم جميعا. First of all, thank you, Dr. Aisha, and thank you to all of the panelists for such a rich discussion that made us think of possibilities for the future. What are the main guidelines that we should set the strategy on? What is our role as NGOs? Have we done enough in the past? What is the pathway to go into the future? I'd like to thank you all. My question would be احنا يمكن we unintentionally بناصر shed some light on it at the beginning of this panel قبل لا نبتدي formally the panel discussion. وأكد على هذا الكلام أيضا الأخ خالد. إحنا we are born in all of us, we are born in the 20th century, and now we are in the 21st century. Or people who will be born in 2050 will live through the 22nd century. فيمكن إحنا we talked about what things did we enjoy as the people who were born in the 20th century that our children الحين are not enjoying, who are born in the 21st century. But I want to ask you, what is the one thing, if you would call one thing, that we have suffered from as Bahrainis who were born in the 20th century, that you do not want those who are born in 2050 to witness and to carry on through the 21st century? If you were to just call one issue, what would that issue be?
Can I start?
Yes, please go ahead.
One thing is, because I'm always talking about the collaborations and GCC, within the framework of future visions, they talk about what we call a global engagement. Maybe we were inward looking ourselves, and you can see it from the way الحنين إلى الماضي. يعني احنا يعني they talk about جيل الطيبين. فرغم ان البحرين يعني let me speak in Arabic little bit. رغم ان البحرين بلد مفتوح، بس لو كان عندنا further what we call global achievements، فdefinitely يعني احنا لما يعني يمكن هذا يعني كان little bit missing. one thing is maybe Dr. Fay, I would say that maybe global achievements, global engagements, maybe something we did not sort of يعني استفدنا منه كثيرا. That's it. Thank you.
Any one of yes, تفضل أخوي.
You know, Walid, dear, sorry, man. If you wanted to go ahead, go ahead.
No, okay. Go ahead.
All right. لأن ما يصير على أبو. Okay. So the thing is, the question is beautiful. You know, what would be the one thing? You know, it is again a question. As I told you, Dr. Aisha, it's sometimes difficult to answer. You know, a multitude of a question. But I will be fair. Sheikh Afaya also had a very smart question. I think we suffered. Okay, we suffered in the past. For example, in some areas of our living in the past. For example, but it is no more the problems of today. Okay, for example, we had a problem in healthcare. Now, no more. Some of it is no more the problem of today. We had problems of transportation. Again, it's not no more the question. Telecommunication, no more the question. But if you think of this one thing that continued with us until now, is the fear of unemployment. It followed us for many years. You know, I remember my father. You know, he was educated long back, and اشتغل. I don't know. I want to speak in Arabic and English, but again, it is difficult to bring in. But my father worked as a painter. You know, and at the age of 12 years old, صباغ. Okay, at the age of 12 years old. You know, and he wanted to build himself. You know, he had to go educated himself and all of that. At that time, still there was no employment. You know, some people who are not educated enough to get those jobs. But now the problems are changing. You know, now again we are in another corner of the world. Now we have a change in the economy, change in the thinking, change in the industry, change in the rules and regulations, change in education. So I think the one thing we suffered, and I think the globe will continue suffering. Not only a Bahraini situation, it is the unemployment issue. Okay, what human beings will do when AI comes in and takes the masses of the jobs available in the market? What are we going to do? You know, by 2050, we have to be able and prepared to, you know, convey the baton to the new generation running behind us. Okay, so I think the one worry is the unemployment. Housing is your problem now. No more mine. Smart cities.
Thank you, Khalid. Please, Walid Bunasser.
Okay, there's too many things actually, but I'll try to limit them to one or two. I am a believer that we have to produce what we eat, and we have to produce what we wear, and we have to produce what we use. Look around us, how much is our dependence on the rest of the world in terms of food, in terms of medicine, in terms of others. When I look at all this, I see opportunities Of course, Bahrain is too small to be able to focus on everything. This is why we have to think of us today as Arab countries. Really, we have a lot that we can do together when we collaborate, that we can produce our own food. God forbid, as a country, we get disconnected from the whole world. Something, God forbid, something bad happens. How much food do we have to sustain our life on this island here? This is going to be something of a bit of a question, but of course it's very serious, because if we don't prepare ourselves, part of our vision, that we really farm most of the food so we can really produce it locally, at least whatever we can do. But it cannot be depending on 3% of our requirement is coming from Bahrain, 97% is coming from outside. And you can imagine the same thing with medical services and others, so much of challenges, but of course, I see them as opportunities. So this is one thing that is very serious, and I'm sorry, it's a very heavy subject, and I keep talking about it all the time. Again, Khalid, I think you mentioned something, maybe again, touch on the jobs of the future. Till now, I don't see that we speak about it in a very loud voice. And how do we prepare our kids, our cars that we are driving today will be chauffeurless, even will be repaired with simple software download and very little human interaction. Computers, they can be updated while we are sleeping at night. So much is really happening. And really, that's one of the reasons many years ago, when I was much younger, I wanted to study technology, computer science and information systems. And one of the reasons is basically this is something that requires our brains, so we can be producers of technology that we can sell to the world. Why we are not just focusing on manufacturership, but we need intellectuals, programmers, developers, and who can really create the technology and make the whole world use them. I would love to see made in Bahrain, made in Arabia, software that can be platforms that we can export to the whole world, and this is something doable. We have some good successful stories, but again, I can see a lot of future things that we can focus on there, because that could be again part of the jobs of the future, our dependence on technology and how it can enhance our life. Not that just the technology takes us away from our social life, but it can enhance our life on that. I think I'll limit it to here. I'll leave it to Ahmed if he has something else to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Walid. I have another question from Mohammed Dadabai, please.
السلام عليكم. شكرا دكتورة عائشة وأستاذ وليد وأستاذ صالح أستاذ خالد وأستاذ أحمد. بعد I attended your talk today. I found it, I really enjoyed it. So thank you for that. So I'm relatively new to the field of sustainability, and I spent the last 3 years or so researching ways in which we can redesign Muharrak specifically to be much more sustainable with all the strategies that more or less were mentioned. However, I ran into a few limitations, 3 main ones, and I would just like to ask on how we can address maybe these limitations. And so most of the questions we were asked all the time were, first of all, the cost of sustainability, I think, is very expensive today, especially the technology. Second of all, the weather that we have in Bahrain, when we talk about making it more walkable or less car-centric, how do we address the weather? And the third one would be I think the most important one is just the mentality shift. إن الناس هاليوم ما يحبون يمشون برا، يشوفون الشيء إن بيفضلون هم يأخذون السيارة من مكان لمكان. فإحنا شلون نقدر نغير هالشيء, especially when it comes to our way of living, in terms of having very separated households and urban design, to maybe living a bit more densely, like more successful urban cities are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Who would like to answer the question?
I can shed some lights on at least the last point regarding people spending more time outside in this weather. There are examples, I believe, in some countries like Singapore and Malaysia, stuff like that, is that within the design of the cities, you make sure that there is enough shading, enough greenery, enough corridors between buildings. So it's like living in Canada during winter. You don't really go outside. Everything is done within the complex itself. So similarly in Bahrain, being that the opposite weather, we have a lot of heat, a lot of issues, is that, as you know, there is initiatives regarding planting more trees. But if there is cooperation and collaboration between commercial complexes, then they can have ways to really walk between complexes without really being exposed to the external weather. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. And allow me to, yes, anyone? So I thought I heard someone.
مرحبا.
I believe we. مرحبا كوثر، تفضلي عليكم السلام، تفضلي.
يعطيكم العافية جميعا. The discussion is amazing. بس حبيت مداخلة بسيطة. طبعا I wrote رايت دكتورة في بخصوص ان احنا usually basically we put or build the strategy from top to bottom, but I believe we should consider generations الصغار. كوني أنا وعندي teenager, I always assess how she thinks, how she imagine the future. طبعا there is a lot of uncertainties وإحنا جيل الطيبين وشهدنا التكنولوجيا بدايتها وقبل التكنولوجيا. I think يعني كوننا إحنا NGOs we have to have pooling of information or data لها علاقة بالexpectation of the younger generation of how they imagine the future while we maintain الهeritage مالنا أيضا. أنا دائما يعني مثال بسيط دائما I look with a lot of respect to the older generation إنه شلون كافحوا وطلعوا من صعوبات وايد and we are what we are today because of them. فأنا I think we don't want to lose that heritage وفي وايد عادات وشغلات we want to keep. In the same time we have to be يعني more innovative. We develop more entrepreneurial mindset. موضوع employment واقتصادنا شو ممكن نقوي. We should change massively the educational system. المفروض يتغير يتطور عشان يواكب changes that is happening. And also I think we should have change as part of the strategies because it's always changing. The technology is coming in fiercely and it's changing before regulation is there. So I think education should be there. The change should be considered as well. So this is my point of view.
Thank you, Kauthar. I believe we come now to the end of the session after Kauthar's contribution to the fruitful contribution from Kauthar to the session. So please allow me to express my great thanks and gratitude to our distinguished speakers here today, Mr. Saleh Tarada, Mr. Walid Kano, Mr. Khalid Salem, and Mr. Ahmed Lebloushi for their insightful futuristic perspectives and advice and information. Let me also thank our engaged audience for today. Let us hope that this session has been also informative and insightful for our audience. Thank you very much, and let's work together to have a better future for our beloved country. We'll see you all in another sessions, inshallah.
Inshallah.